Hey guys, welcome back to an interesting video on Wild Rift. So today we're back with a Caitlyn supplementary guide, and this one is a really like kind of quick one in terms of explaining the build runes and spells. So basically, as we all know, this Caitlyn build has been really popular. It's being used by the top Caitlyns, and I use it personally as well because the triple energized item like combo is actually really strong, and Caitlyn makes the best use of it because of her range. So what this is basically is you go for Storm Razor, which is your normal starting item anyways, gives you of course AD attack speed and crit, and then you go for the Static Shiv, which gives you again more attack speed and crit, and the Rapid Fire Cannon gives you the same thing. But the thing about these three items is they all give you the energized passive, which for Storm Razor gives a slow, for Static Shiv gives a AoE like lightning chain, and for Rapid Fire Cannon gives you extended range. Now all of these stack on top of each other to give number 1 stacking effects and number 2 stacking damage. So for example, with Storm Razor and Static Shiv you have an AoE slow, and with Storm Razor, Static Shiv, then Rapid Fire Cannon, you have a long range AoE slow. So that's really strong, but the thing that makes it really strong is the fact that the damage stacks on top of each other. So you have triple the damage of your Storm Razor energized like burst. So this gives you a huge burst, which basically means that in like when you have the triple energized items, like when you attack like an ADC for example, you're gonna do more than half of their HP in one auto attack, and that in solo queue, that's huge, because if you can catch out a squishy target, you can do like like one combo on them and they're instantly dead. Like for example, if you like E auto and then you auto again and they're instantly dead. So that's completely OP in solo queue of course. And then of course you top it off with an IE to of course give you more AD and increase your crit damage, as well as put you to 100% crit. So you also of course go for the stasis, and normally I like to go for Boots of Fury for the attack speed. And of course for the armor penetration items, since you already have 4 crit items, you like to go for the Maul Reminder. And the Maul Reminder, you of course can get the Executioner's Calling earlier, and you can build Maul Reminder before IE if there's many tanky champions on the enemy team. So for the runes, this leads to the next thing, which is I used to take Lethal Tempo, but I realized it doesn't really make sense because you have 3 attack speed items in the form of the 3 energized items, so you don't really need any more attack speed. So what I found to be more useful instead is Kraken Slayer, because you attack really quickly, you can get out 3 attacks really quickly and proc your Kraken Slayer. So this makes it really strong for you in lane as well, because when you're bullying people, you generally can attack them 3 times to proc the Kraken. And in late game, Kraken Slayer doesn't really matter all that much anymore because of the energized passive damage, but still, in team fights when you play front to back, every 3rd attack you're going to be dealing a little bit of true damage, so that of course is going to be amazing, and Kraken Slayer is just great for this build. So of course Hunter Vampirism for the lifesteal, Bone Plating for the anti-burst, and Nimbus Cloak for the movement speed when you cast your summoner spells, which are of course going to be Exhaust and Flash as per usual. So with all that quickly out of the way, we're going to jump straight into talking about the gameplay. Alright, so here we have the Caitlyn gameplay. Now, I say this every Caitlyn video, but Caitlyn is meant to be a lane bully. She's really strong in the early game and in the late game. So she has a mid-game power trough where she is kind of weaker than many other ADCs, but if you get a number of kills in the early game and get fed, that mid-game power trough, you won't really feel it anymore, which is of course the general goal. So in this game I have an Alistar. So Alistar of course can be relatively aggressive and can engage for me, but we are up against a Xayah who is of course relatively safe. Even so, as you guys can see here, we do have the range advantage. So here I'm just walking up to do damage, but as you guys can see, Lux is doing a whole load of damage, and that's no good. I headshot the Lux, and the Xayah has been spending the whole time pushing in the minion wave. So here I get the Kraken off on Lux, but you can see that I'm like 1 HP. But since we know that Xayah is not in range, technically it looks like it's really dangerous, but in reality it's actually pretty safe. What isn't safe though is Alistar shoving the Lux towards us. But anyways, it kind of works out because Lee Sin comes in, picks up the kill onto the Lux. And here on our end, we can of course pick up the Xayah with the help of the exhaust to make sure she doesn't kill me instead. Xayah did actually have her exhaust. I'm not quite sure why she didn't use it. Maybe she knew that she was gonna die anyways, which kind of was the scenario there. But I felt that if she exhausted me and ran, I'm not sure if Lee Sin would have got there in time. But either way, we end up killing both of them, although I don't personally get any of the kills. Lee Sin and Alistar get 1 apiece, but even so, of course, that is a great start. All that gets me though is going to be a dagger, which basically only costs 500 gold, so it's not the biggest deal in the world for now, but of course we're off to a good start. Here we're walking back into lane, and once again we do want to generally be aggressive. However, Lux is higher level than us. We're going to proc her bone plating first. No point to be too aggressive when they have bone plating up. We have the headshot primed and ready. Headshot onto the Lux. Of course will outpoke her compared to her E. And here we get another auto into E headshot combo here to chunk out the Lux a little bit more. And we're of course gonna queue through the minions to get the burst onto them whenever we can off of the Q. Here Xayah steps up, and I'm just going to basically combo her again, dodging the Lux Q. I'm gonna step up. Alistar has gotten a lot of damage onto the Lux, not onto the Xayah, I mean, so I flash forward and finish off the kill on Xayah. Xayah of course doesn't have flash from the earlier play that involved Lee Sin, so she has nowhere to run. Tried to get to the fruit but didn't quite get there. So now we're on the board with a kill and 2 assists. And here Alistar relics the cannon, and with that we can back and pick up our items. So here of course we don't quite have enough for Storm Razor yet, but we do have enough for both of the components. So we're going to grab both components and run back to lane. So really interesting thing is that in that fight, me and Xayah actually had the same item. So Xayah was also able to pick up a dagger on her like upon her death. So because I didn't really get any of the kills, I only got the assist. Me and Xayah were actually on really even footing there, but of course Caitlyn is much stronger than Xayah in the early stages of the game, so of course that should not be an issue at all. And also with the Kraken Slayer, it's contributing quite a large sum of damage, even though it may not be very obvious, but it is contributing a lot of damage in the early game. So here I was actually trying to freeze the wave outside my tower, but Alistar is of course relicking the cannon, so it's not going to be very easy to do that. Akshan comes down on a roam, and nothing much comes of it except me and Alistar pretty much just getting rooted. Root did way less damage than I thought, though barely took much damage from that. Alistar goes to combo the Lux. I hit the Q onto the Lux, and I'm running them down basically. I'm focusing the Xayah with the headshot here again. Xayah manages to get off her ultimate, and I end up ulting the Lux by mistake. Even so, Lux probably would have blocked for Xayah anyway, so probably would end up hitting the Lux either way, but Lux survives on 1 HP. Now she finally goes down. Xayah also really low, gets to the fruit, gets low again, and Lee Sin whiffs the Q, dies to the ignite from the Yasuo, and Alistar is also in trouble. Ult runs out, Yasuo gets the tornado into the ultimate, and it sort of starts to unravel. Akshan is now down as well to respond to the Yasuo. I'm running back to lane, and Xin Zhao is also coming. It's a really long extended chain of events. Here I'm setting down the trap to make it harder for them to come towards us if they want to do that. And now the Dragon and Herald are both spawning. Obviously there's going to be a dragon fight because Xin Zhao is in the area, Lee Sin is coming toward the area, and looks like there's going to be a fight over dragon. So Caitlyn has decent wave clear using her Q, so using her Q you can shove the wave relatively quickly. Here I'm just waiting for the wave to come in, and I'm queuing the wave so it hits every single minion, and then of course just blasting down the minions, of course going for the ones that we can last hit. So here I'm gonna just quickly burst down this cannon minion. Unfortunately I missed the last hit there, but here it allows us to rotate to the dragon. Unfortunately the enemy team is already on the dragon and decided to sack the wave to do the dragon instead. Not really the worst idea in the world. Now, because Lee Sin doesn't really want to commit, Alistar ends up committing and basically ends up dying off on that. My whole team is here now. I'm trying to walk around to a position where I can actually do damage. But unfortunately, by the time I get into a position to do damage, the fight is basically over. So no real easy way for me to get over the wall unless I flash the wall to get into a position to do damage. But that, of course, is never really a good thing to do, because you could just find yourself in the pit, trapped, just die and make yourself look like a complete fool, and that's never what you really want to do. So here, regardless, we're going to rotate over to the Herald instead. So here, Tryndamere is, of course, threatening and applying pressure while we're doing the Herald. We should be able to secure this relatively easily. Lee Sin misses the smite, and I end up securing the Herald instead of him. I'm going to flash the wall because there are a whole bunch of enemies chasing us. Tryndamere tries to follow me, pops the Undying Rage because he's stuck on 1 HP. I hear I'm 1 HP as well, but I have really long range, so I was thinking I might be able to hit him. But my whole team basically just cleans up the fight. So honestly, at this point, I'm kind of playing support Caitlyn. I'm 1-0-7 with 7 assists. Even Alistar has like almost the same kind of scoreline as me. But here I spot an opportunity to use the Herald despite being 1 HP because the whole enemy team died. So we are able to use the Herald to break down the top tower, getting all of the platings as well as getting the first turret. So that's a really good, nice gold injection for me and Darius as well. You can see in terms of the goal, my team is higher than every single member on the enemy team except the Alistar, of course, because he is the support. And yeah, so here we're doing really well. We're off to a really good start. Everybody on my team is basically fed, including me, although I don't really have a lot of kills to show for it, but I do still have the gold. So here I'm just trying to defend my tower, and here I'm just basically blasting them whenever I can. Of course, Alistar is back, so they are hightailing it out of there and retreating back to their tower supposedly. And yeah, so basically, obviously, as Caitlyn, you just want to be as aggressive as possible. We almost have the static shift already. I believe at this point we have static shift. So now when you have the 2-item power spike, you're gonna start to be pretty strong. And this static shift build also kind of helps you to sort of make the mid-game power trough a little bit better, like when you're not so far ahead. And when you are ahead, this is gonna make you a lot more oppressive. So of course, I kind of do like this build after trying it out for a couple of times. I did do a video on this before a couple of months ago, so it's not like a new build or anything, but the new part of the build is going for Kraken Slayer instead of going for Conqueror. Not Conqueror, instead of going for Lethal Tempo. So here I set up a line of traps over here in the lane to make it more difficult for the enemy team to sort of come up and threaten me, because obviously I was alone. You could see my whole team in vision in top. So here I was alone, so I was afraid I was going to get dived by the Xayah and the Lux, but of course that ended up not actually happening whatsoever. So it turns out, I was worried over nothing basically. But here you see, with the static shift, you basically can clear the entire minion wave just with a couple of auto attacks. And here I'm going to try to get some tower damage. One bad thing about static shift though is if you hit the tower with static shift, it's going to transfer to the enemy. So here, both of us blow both summoners, we exhaust each other, I flash back, she flashes forward. But here honestly, because we both have no summoners, I do believe that I can kill her with my 2 items as well as my Kraken Slayer, where she has only 1 item at the current moment and a Last Whisper. So here I hit the Q auto, look at that burst into the E, waiting for her to come down, hit shot her, and basically this is going to be a kill. But Lee Sin helps to secure the kill. So yeah, I was just trying to back off and ult her to finish the kill so that I would be safe, and I wouldn't risk dying to her at all. But Lee Sin kind of just helps out in securing the kill just in case we couldn't get it. But anyways, we finish her off, and now we can recall, pick up our boots, and then we can move on to, of course, going to other lanes and seeing what else on the map we can do. Of course, in the meanwhile, we're going to, of course, farm the raptors on the way there. Of course, just maintaining our farm and getting more gold to get closer towards buying the rapid fire cannon and also our boot enchant at the current stage. So here, Dragon is spawning in a while. Lee Sin is pretty much going for the Herald though, and Xin Zhao is already on the Herald. So here I'm just going to back because I can pick up Stasis. So I'm going to back and pick up Stasis, which is generally a very crucial thing to have when it comes to team fights, because that few seconds of invulnerability could be the difference between living and dying. Now here, although blue buff is up, I'm just going to walk straight past it because I don't have the extra half a second to stay and get that blue buff. Because I do need to catch up here to help to DPS these two people down. We get the kill on the Xin Zhao, then we go for the Xayah. Here you can see we burst down the Xayah, and then we move on to the next target, which is the Lux. Yasuo tries to come in, flashes forward, but doesn't realize there's an entire enemy team. Alistar ends by pushing him to safety. I mistimed the Q. Because of that, because of me and Alistar's mistakes, he ends up getting a kill onto Akshan, which is obviously not what we want, but either way, it kind of just ends up working out. We get the Herald, we get more kills than the enemy team. And with the Herald distraction on top, we can, of course, move down to doing the dragon. Now, Tryndamere, second time he's done this game, he ends up trying to solo the dragon by himself, but obviously it's not going to happen. He does the dragon way too slow. So Xin Zhao here trying to contest. I try to stop him basically here, and he basically just goes on to me. So here I'm just flashing away, and Darius has seen what's happened and has come to back me up. So now I'm pretty much safe over that, but still had to blow my flash. So not a bad play by Xin Zhao. I didn't expect him to go in on me because my whole team was there, but he recognized that I was kind of separated a little bit from my team, so he did try to go in. Here I used the ult to finish off the Xin Zhao, returning the favor to the Lee Sin. Tryndamere on the chase. Tryndamere is not the easiest person to kill, so I'm just going for the wave instead because he of course does have that ultimate that makes it very difficult to kill him. However, he looks like he's kind of chasing our team. Alistar hitbutts him away back to the tower, and honestly I felt that there was a play to be had here. Like our wave was coming in, our whole team was basically here. I think we could have like dived the Lux and the Tryndamere, but since my whole team backed off and went elsewhere, obviously I cannot do anything like that by myself. So I'm just going to fall back onto the jungle and just farm up the Krugs. And during which time the wave has pushed in, so I'm gonna of course pick up this wave as well. And of course now we're trying to build towards our rapid fire cannon. Triple energized items is a huge power spike. There you go. Triple energized items acquired. Another like kind of good thing about this is that triple energized items are cheaper than other crit items. They mostly cost around 2700 or so, and they're way cheaper than going for items like IE, you know, and other such items. So anyways, here kind of a fight's breaking out at the top side jungle. So here I'm trying to rotate over and help out my team. Everybody's kind of really out of range here, so I'm just trying to get into range to hit someone. Take a look at the burst on Zaya here. Look at that. That was more than half our HP with the triple energized burst. That's what I was talking about in the build. So that is what the triple energized item can do for you. That instant burst just destroys someone instantly, particularly the enemy ADC or mage. Anyways, here I put the exhaust down onto the Yasuo to try to help out Akshan. Once again, Akshan ends up dying to Yasuo on my watch. Doesn't quite work out, and me and Lee Sin managed to finish off the Yasuo at long last. So Tryndamere is alive. I see him coming, so I'm starting to run. I thought that I would be fine here, but he flashes the trap, and I try to E away. I stasis, try to buy time, but Darius will never be able to kill him in time because he still has the Undying Ray. So I knew I was dead the moment I pressed stasis, basically. So anyways, I do end up dying, giving over the shutdown to Tryndamere, which is obviously not ideal, but at the end of the day, we're still doing well as a team. We're 10k gold up on the enemy team, so that shouldn't be too bad. My team finishes off the Zaya. Xin Zhao jumps in for some reason, has to flash out, pops the pops the gargoyles, but doesn't matter, he still dies anyways, and the enemy team is pretty much just dying on repeat. My team is going for the Baron. Of course, I'm still 5 seconds away from respawning, so when they get the Baron, I will be alive to, of course, pick up the Baron buff. So I'm back up and alive. You can see, just gonna watch my team do the Baron while I walk towards the general area. Of course, the enemy jungle is dead, and so is their ADC. So this is prime time to do Baron. Just walking over just in case there's a fight that happens. The Lee Sin hops the wall and kicks Lux away, which I have no idea what he's doing here because we need him to smite and secure the Baron. So this ends up becoming a very risky Baron because he's getting zoned back away. Thankfully, Yasuo doesn't have flash, so he can't come over the wall and try to steal. He has to walk the long way around, during which time we managed to secure the Baron. But that was a really risky, ended up being a very risky Baron for no good reason. If Lee Sin just stayed in the pit and secured the Baron, that would have been way better than hopping the wall and just randomly chasing the Lux down. Anyways, Lux dies to Lee Sin. We kill the Yasuo, who of course tried to steal the Baron, and we're back in a very good spot. So here I'm just going to secure the red buff, secure the Raptors, and also secure the Krugs. And now we see there's a fight between Lee Sin and Xin Zhao. Lee Sin kicks Xin Zhao toward me so I can of course help him DPS. Xin Zhao pops the ult, so I'm going to have to walk within his ult range to try to kill him off. And a fight starts to begin to break out. Darius is split pushing whilst this is happening. And here you can see we almost managed to instant burst the Tryndamere and kill him before he can even pop the ulti, but he does manage to do it eventually. Either way, he does end up going down, and Yasuo tries to come in to solve the situation. He once again dies, and using the Baron buff as well as our triple cannon minions, I'm gonna just push down this tower real easily. Darius is still split pushing during this whole time, and he is trying to get that top inhibitor. While he's doing that and distracting the enemy bot lane, who are the only 2 people alive, I'm basically securing this bot inhibitor for free. And then Darius also secures the top inhibitor. So here we're basically just destroying the enemy's base. Of course, the couple of enemies are kind of close to respawning, but here we're going to secure the mid inhibitor as well. So triple inhib for us. Pretty much the game should be won at this point. We got so many cannon minions blasting the base. Even if we don't focus the base and focus the champions, we win. And as I said, we do win with like 8 cannons blasting the base. So you guys can see how strong this Caitlyn build is. Leave you guys with the stats as usual. Thank you guys so much for watching the video, and goodbye.